I never could stand the place, but I got to the top by me own bootstrap, and not 'cause they liked me face. Now I made a good life for me child and wife, had respect from me fellow men. But the gaffer's giving me the gold watch next week, and he'll never see me again. Prospect, Providence, Perseverance, Albert Valley and Crank. I pass me time in the dust and grime with never a word of thanks. Oh, the wages were low and the hours were long, and the gaffers was hard, lads, hard. But the last time's coming, thank God, coming soon, when I'll walk up the damn mill yard.
There'll be no more sweating on a Seacoil dam through the heat of a summer's day. There'll be no more choking on the rag oil dust. There'll be no more fratching for pay. There'll be no more trying to mend a clapped out loom where the noise makes you climb the walls. There'll be no more measuring the gaffer's boot with the seat of your overalls. Prospect, Providence, Perseverance, Albert Valley and Crank. I pass me time in the dust and grime with never a word of thanks. Oh, the wages were low and the hours were long, and the gaffers was hard, lads, hard. But the last time's coming, thank God, coming soon, when I'll walk up the damned mill yard. There'll be no more bawling of a weaver out when the peace makes the menders grieve. Oh, me shuttles were all cracked, so had too many traps, and the weft wasn't fit to weave. Then the spinner finds fault with the Willier's blend, who says that his rags were too cheap. And the blame gets passed right down the line, till the gaffer goes and kicks the sheep. Prospect, Providence, Perseverance, Albert Valley and Crank. I pass me time in the dust and grime with never a word of thanks. Oh, the wages were low and the hours were long, and the gaffers was hard, lads, hard. But the last time's coming, thank God, coming soon, when I'll walk up the damned mill yard. Though the pension's small, I've a bit put by that'll do for the wife and me. And there'll be enough spare for the odd glass of beer and a few days by the sea. And I'll roll a few woods, and I'll still find time for the jobs that I used to shirk. I'll have so much on that I'll wonder then how I ever found time to work. Prospect, Providence, Perseverance, Albert Valley and Crank. I pass me time in the dust and grime with never a word of thanks. Oh, the wages were low and the hours were long, and the gaffers was hard, lads, hard. But the last time's coming, thank God, coming soon, when I'll walk up the damned mill yard.
Though the pension's low, still the prices rise. Me wife's going out of her mind, and I'm no longer sure what it's all been for, the year-long, lifelong grind. And I dust so long that me lungs have gone, and I cannot get me breath. I can't laugh or talk or even walk. And I long for the peace of death. Prospect, Providence, Perseverance, Albert Valley and Crank. I
I pass me time in the dust and grime, with never a word of thanks. Oh, the wages were low and the hours were long, and the gaffers was hard, lads hard. But the last time's coming, thank God, coming soon, when I'll walk up the damned mill yard.
Thank you. Thank you. We tend to specialise in songs which are all about death and destruction and despair.
We'd like you to enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, that's right. We have actually put one lighter song in tonight's programme, just as a concession, so look out for it and enjoy it when it comes, because there aren't many of them. This next song from Morley is about the mining industry in Morley, which there used to be. And in 1872, there was an explosion in Morley Main colliery, and 34 were killed. Not a lot in terms of disasters of those days, but really, it must have been a quiet week for news that week, because it actually made the front cover of the London Illustrated News. It was only a small mining disaster. But again, if it's your brother or it's your husband or son who is killed in a mining disaster, there is no such thing as a small mining disaster. This is Morley's.
They came to call for me last Monday morning, when I was hanging washing on the line. They looked down at the boots a lot and wouldn't meet me eye, and only said, "You're wanted at the mine." I knew he was dead, but funny, I could only think how fresh the clothes would smell if it stayed fine.
And you'll say it wasn't such a big disaster, it only made the papers for a day. I'm sure the wives who are weeping will find comfort from your news. So tell 'em that and then see what they say. And ask them who's to feed the children, where they'll find the rent. And ask how much the owners mean to pay.
They carried all the bodies to the Royal, all laid in rows as neatly as could be. Some were burnt, some were crushed, some had only choked, but none of them was very nice to see. And it was only by the belt he always used to wear that I could tell which one belonged to me.
And you'll say it wasn't such a big disaster, it only made the papers for a day. I'm sure the wives who are weeping will find comfort from your news. So tell 'em that and then see what they say. And ask them who's to feed the children, where they'll find the rent. And ask how much the owners mean to pay.
They'll find some lying weasel for the inquest, or some poor lad who's frightened for his place, who'll claim he smelt tobacco just an hour or two before, and swear the men were smoking at the face. For it only takes a single match to shift the owner's blame, and some dead miner bears the whole disgrace.
And you'll say it wasn't such a big disaster, it only made the papers for a day. I'm sure the wives who are weeping will find comfort from your news. So tell 'em that and then see what they say. And ask them who's to feed the children, where they'll find the rent. and ask how much the owners mean to pay.
There'll be enough insurance for the funeral, a proper place to rest the least he's due, some money from the parish, or perhaps they'll start a fund, but after that I don't know what we'll do, for I don't suppose at 29 I'll find another man. For younger widows they'll be looking too.
And you'll say it wasn't such a big disaster. It only made the papers for a day. I'm sure the wives who are weeping will find comfort from your news. So tell them that and then see what they say. And ask them who's to feed the children, where they'll find the rent, and ask how much the owners mean to pay.
Right, I lived for a while in a Durham pit village, which died when the pit was closed in the late 50s. And this song is sort of inspired by the more recent closures of the pits and the fact that when it's done, villages all over the place sort of have nothing left, and there's no work left in the place, and what was a community just dies. I've worked for many long years of me life with nothing for reward, but a few pounds here and a pittance there, and the boss's hateful words, the loss of life and the widow's tears, the blacked out lungs and the miner's fears, all forgotten in owners' dreams. Race against time, we spend our lives with no work to be seen. There's no job left for me to do, and nothing where toil has been. Me father he hewed in the pit black dirt, stripped down to the waist, with dust in his lungs and sweat on his brow, and a pickaxe for his mate. The shots rang out and the roof came down, where bloated bodies in graves unknown lie forgotten in owners' dreams. Race against time, we spend our lives with no work to be seen. There's no job left for me to do, and nothing where toil has been. Me sons never wanted to work in the pit, nor follow the mining trade, but it's all that they knew and all they could do, to work with pick and spade. Their lives are spent where they see no sun, digging until the last shift is done, men forgotten in owners' dreams. Race against time, we spend our lives with no work to be seen. There's no job left for me to do, and nothing where toil has been. Though the work is bad, it's the best we've got, clinging to a wage. But pits are closing with coal still there, in silent dust-filled rage. There's nothing left for the men to say, but close the pits and await the day, truth forgotten in owners' dreams. Race against time, we spend our lives with no work to be seen. There's no job left for me to do, and nothing where toil has been. The future's as black as Hatfield coal, as useless as the shale. As the men come up for the very last time, with faces black but pale, the banners will rot and the towns will die, as families wish all their past goodbye. not remembered in owner's dreams. Race against time, we spend our lives with no work to be seen. There's no job left for me to do, and nothing where toil has been.
Now, this is the treat I promised you. This is the cheerful song. This is not a song about death. Well, it is tangentially, shall we say. It's about avoiding death. It's from the Second World War. It's from the conversations I used to have with a chap who was a rear gunner on Lancasters in the Second World War. And when they were trying to catch up the number of trips so that finished off with their tour of duty, the last person they wanted to volunteer with was a man they called the left, right, steady man. Now, this was the bomb aimer who was too keen, who insisted on getting his bomb sight exactly on the target before he let the bombs go. The consequence of that was they often had to go around and do a second trip round, and then they got shot down and killed. So nobody liked the left, right, steady man. This is a song about an unfortunate time when someone volunteers to go off with a left, right, steady man.
Rear gunner on a Lancaster in spring of 44. Son, don't ever volunteer, oh. I'd seen me sheriff flying and I'd had me fill of a war. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. Over Stettin, over Norway, over Munich and Berlin. I'd lost count of all the scraps and scrapes near misses I'd been in. But I only needed 3 more trips to get me 19 in. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. I got a left, right, steady man. Oops, go round again. Go round again. Lord, what a pain. Blind as a bat he was, and where was his brain? Left, right, steady man. Oops, go round again. So I signed on with the new lot to catch up a trip or 2. Son, don't ever volunteer, oh. I should have seen the warning signs, their flying suits were new. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. No hopers, never would-be's, and all wet behind the ears. The other fellas told me before bedtime there'd be tears, but I never dreamt how they'd fulfill the worst of all me fears. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. I got a left, right, steady man. Oops, go round again. Go round again. Lord, what a pain. On his wedding night, it was such a sight, you could hear his wife complain. Left, right, steady man. Whoops, go round again. It should have been an easy trip, some dams out Volstran way. Son, don't ever volunteer, oh. The kind of trip you go to miss to try another day. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. The flak was light, the fighters few, a piece of bread and jam. Drop short to get that second trip, for God's sake miss the dam. Then flick your wings to spoil the film and back to Blighty scram. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. I got a left, right, steady man. Oops, go round again. Knock ein again, the German gunners refrain. And the night fighter pilot, he was laughing like a drain. At left, right, steady man. Whoops, go round again. He shot us through the Bombay and he shot us through the wings. Son, don't ever volunteer, oh. He shot away the engines and he shot away the fins. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. We staggered past the beaches and we put down in the drink. All 7 in one dinghy as the line began to sink. And in the rush the skipper never even stopped to think. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. He put the left, left, right, steady man, oops, go round again. To steering us back, Lord, he must have been cracked. With such a chump as him on compass, would we see England again? Left, left, right, steady man, whoops, lost on the main. We paddled round in circles 2 whole days and 2 whole nights. Son, don't ever volunteer, oh, till gleaming through the mist and rain at last we saw some lights. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. Ahoy, are we near England? Shouted left, left, silly bugger. Are you the SC Rescue or perhaps some fishing logger?
Ach nein, we are an E-boat in the harbour of Zeebrugge.
Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. I got a left, left, right, steady man, oops, go round again. Got us out of the drink, but straight into clink. The unlikelihood of future fatherhood for him we all made quite plain. To left, left, right, steady man, whoops, go round again. Should have been on leave in Blackpool, spending all me Nuffield pay. Son, don't ever volunteer, oh, with holes burnt in me pockets and a new girl every day. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh, but I'm sitting in this stalag going mad on Acorn Tea, wishing I could be back once again in old ACRC. For the bleeding left, left, steady man is bunking next to me. Son of mine, don't ever volunteer, oh. I got a left, left, right, steady man, oops, go round again. The war finished last week, but he's tunnelling again. He's down there still digging, we're all catching a train. Without left, left, right, steady man, whoops, go round again.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. That's a new song. We're sorry you didn't like it. And then that's the way it goes. Can't win them all, Keith, can you?
We'll start with the Second World War. 1943, when the tide of the war starting to turn and the Allies are starting to win a few. And they suddenly realise they're going to have to go and invade France and they don't have enough men to do it. So they start importing Americans for starters. And then...
Half the main course.
Then for the main course, they decide they will train up some local lads, some native lads. So they start building army camps all over England to train up the squaddies to go and jump over into France. Mainly these army camps were built in rural areas so they were away from the temptations and the distractions of the bright lights of the city, so that nobody was tempted to go off there, and they stuck there and got on seriously with their training. So this is a song about a mythical village somewhere in England, 1943, called Allingham. And it's sung from the point of view of a well-brought-up young lady of 17 or 18. This is where you do the work, because I shall play that part of the well-brought-up young lady of 17. Do your best, please.
Well brought up. Can anyone imagine that?
We stand a chance tonight. Usually folk club audiences aren't as big as that. So there might be someone in here that actually can conceive of them being well brought up.
Horrendously vivid imagination.
They're building a camp on the cornfields at Allingham, bulldozers churning and changing the land, long barbed wire fences and acres of tarmac, nissen huts ranged where the crops used to stand, wide-eyed young village girls giggling and staring at tanks and transporters that darken the sky. There's convoys of lorries with fresh faces peering out. So many young men come learning to die. They say you can still hear the village hall band. Grey, ghostly couples still glide round the floor. But Normandy Orchards were waiting to welcome new partners for